Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we're going to talk about Twin Peaks Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot. And we'll start off spoiler free, I guess, just in case you haven't seen Twin Peaks before and you're wondering should I get into it, especially since it's coming back this year.
And to be fair, to varying degrees, both of us are in that situation of we want this spoiler free. Like in comment sections, please.
Yes. So, bit of backstory here as far as our history with David Lynch specifically, and a little bit with the show. I'm a David Lynch fan. I have seen not all of his movies, but a good majority of them. Some of which I actually really love. I have seen season 1 of this before a long time ago. I have forgotten most of it. I remembered liking it. So there's one or two things I remember that will stop me from speculating about a couple of things in this episode, but for the most part, I have forgotten everything, so it shouldn't affect the discussion that much. On the other hand, though, Connor's not seen anything by David Lynch.
I've not. It's if you said, "Oh, it's very David Lynch," I'd know exactly what you meant. I know exactly what to expect in
But
that
you've never
regard, but I've never
experienced it.
experienced it. No.
Well,
With the exception of once I started, I realized I did study a few pieces of the music.
yes, music's very iconic. You know it's this show as soon as within
Yeah,
seconds
it
of
was
hearing it.
something that I'd forgotten that I'd studied it until
Yeah,
I heard it. Like, there's two themes that I did from this episode. It's like, oh yeah, of course.
yeah. Well, since you've never seen David Lynch, I certainly was going into this. I was thinking, I wonder, because there was always the chance that after one episode of this, Connor would say to me, "I hated this. This was silly. What the hell? I don't want to do another episode of this." So I am deeply curious, Connor, did you enjoy the pilot of Twin Peaks?
Very much.
Oh, good,
Very, very much. Yes.
good, fantastic.
We're safe, don't we? Well, like you said, I knew what to expect,
Yeah.
and I like other directors of that sort of style.
Don't get me wrong. This is far from his weirdest,
Oh, I'm sure, but
but yeah.
like things like Refn, which I'm a big fan of, made me think
Yeah.
I'll probably be okay with Lynch.
I will say this though. Can you imagine watching this on ABC in 1990?
I know that is a strange thing. That's a stranger thing to wrap my head around than anything David Lynch has ever done in my mind.
Yeah, like coming to Showtime, I can see them having something like this, but this been on ABC. Like, imagine this on like today's ABC schedule next to what do ABC do now?
I don't know. Probably some legal dramas.
I mean, we watched Shield, obviously. I was going to say Desperate Housewives, but that's been over for years.
They've got their Shonda Rhimes.
But my point stands. It's very unique and not really in their wheelhouse,
It's
which
not.
is it's not a surprise that it ended up not lasting that long in the grand scheme of
No,
things.
no, it's not really.
So what is Twin Peaks? Twin Peaks is a murder mystery. It starts with the finding of a body of a high school girl in this small town, Twin Peaks, the population of which is under 10,000, if I remember the sign at the start of the episode correctly. Oh no,
Maybe
sorry,
I think it was 15,
no, it was
50,
50,000.
50.
It was
Yeah, I knew
50.
there was a 5,
Because I remember looking at it and going, "Oh, that was more than I expected." Because it still feels like a small town. Because I mean, 50,000 is still small, but
but it's more than you think when you think, oh,
yeah.
small. Yeah.
So yeah, it's this small, very northern town. I think Cooper says it's 5 miles from the Canadian border, so very northern
Yeah,
US.
5 miles south.
And yeah, he's the FBI agent. Comes in, and it's about just who killed Laura Palmer. That was almost the line of the show is who killed Laura Palmer. It became like a famous thing, big mystery. And it's David Lynch, very weird, very stylized. Lots of, especially for the time, lots of filming techniques you wouldn't have seen in a TV show, and really iconic music, stuff like that. And that's kind of it. It's the investigation and just a general kind of all these kooky characters in this town and how they react to this murder, and that's the show. So I mean, I wanted to eventually get through this anyway, but the announcement of a new season, a comeback season, coming this
Yeah.
year, obviously is motivation to do so. And we will be going through this one per week for now. We will be speeding up though after a little while because we now know when the show's coming back. It was actually just announced today. We've not even spoke about this on our news video yet that we do every week. It's coming back in May 21st. So
Yeah.
we will have to finish, and by finish I mean watch season 1, season 2, and the movie Fire Walk with Me all before May 21st. So that will happen. We will do that. We'll be caught up nice in time.
Yeah, you can work out the math for yourself if you really want, but clearly it's too long to do it one a week like our original plan.
Yeah, yeah, it's about 19 weeks, so we have to, double up some weeks here or there.
Yeah, maybe triple towards the end.
And triple towards the end. But that's the plan. So we're going to go through the whole thing. Hopefully you enjoyed the ride with us. If you've not seen it before, by all means, join us week to week and enjoy the discussion between each episode. And if you have seen it, hopefully our reactions to the insanity might amuse you.
And maybe rewatch along anyway as a little bit of a refresher before the new season starts.
You've had your homework, so let's... So obviously I asked Connor if he liked it, and he did. That's good. I obviously also like it. I like Lynch. I liked this when I watched it the first time. And my first observation, and I said this to Connor before we went to watch it, I said, it amazes me how relaxed the opening titles are. I think they play for like 30-40 seconds before a single title even comes up. It's just music and the water and like the machinery for cutting the wood.
Yeah, the saw.
The saw. Well, yeah, but it's a specific saw. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sharpening the saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you say saw, you just think of a small.
Well, big lumber saw.
Big lumber
sawmill
saw.
saw.
But the point is it sits on this with the music playing for like a long time before the title comes up.
Do you know what? The title credits went on so long. They weren't bad, don't get me wrong. I like the music. They were nice. But it went on a while. It's like, I'm curious. How long was that? It was about 2 minutes 45.
2 minutes 45. That is a long time for titles.
You would not get away with that now.
No, even HBO and stuff like that, who by today's standards have a long title.
Yeah, they're pushing maybe 90 seconds for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they would never do it this long.
No, not a chance.
But again, I don't know if that was more common back then. I don't think it was. I feel like titles, especially on network TV, have always been typically a minute or less.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing credits that long.
So this might just be Lynch being like Lynch, and like, yeah, I'm having a long title sequence with. Oh, to be fair, and obviously we said it's goes on for like 40 seconds before even the title of the show comes up, before it starts with the credits. This does have an absurdly large cast, so even if you took out those like 40 seconds, the initial quiet bit, it would still be like 2 minutes long.
It is a ridiculously big cast, which presents the problem of a lot of names that we have to remember now.
I will apologise now. We've got the list up. We'll try our best with all the names, but there's a good chance that a couple of them will fall through the cracks for the first few reviews, just because there's a lot of them. This is an absurdly big cast.
Yeah,
absurd. Anyway, let's get into it. Like I say, we'll start spoiler free. I like this a lot. I think it's very stylized. I think it's very soap opera in a lot of ways. One of the things that I'd forgotten from my first viewing is just how many of these characters are in relationships with each other, and then on top of that, how many of the characters in relationships are also having affairs behind each other's backs.
Yeah, it does feel very soap opera in that sense, and also the way everyone's connected. And I know that's small town, but that kind of, in a way, typifies soap operas for me as well. They're always like a small section of a place.
But what separates it, though, is A, I think it's very self-aware that it's doing this, and B, it's very, very stylized in the way that it portrays all of this. Yeah. I think the first time it cuts to school, there's this sort of little sort of swing music kind of kicks in as Donna's walking down the hallway, and it's like it takes its time to establish all the scenes in this way, where you'll have music playing and characters walking into rooms. Typically things you would never do in network TV. Certainly not at this time.
No, not at all.
It would be much more quicker paced. They're worried about us losing interest. This is nice and very deliberate, slow pacing, as it's meant to be. And one of my favourite things about the episode actually is Dale Cooper, played by Kelly MacLachlan, is arguably the main character because he's the FBI agent.
He's the one that's at the centre of everything, isn't he? He's going to be the connective tissue to everything else. And
he's the first person they confirmed was coming back, so clearly, big deal. Everyone remembers him. And I like that we don't actually meet him until about 30-40 minutes into the episode.
And it's about 40, yeah. I think it's... Yeah, about 40 minutes.
Well, I'm just ballparking. You're keeping track more than I am, apparently.
Well, I was intrigued because obviously, I knew he was the main character going in, and when he first popped up, I was like, "Huh, I haven't seen him yet. This has actually been going on a while." What
I like about it, I like how it starts because the first scene is the finding of the body, and it snowballs from there. Everything that follows that is like the parents finding out, the classmates finding out, everyone finds out, and it plays out in a very, very well structured way where they all lead on to each other. in a really natural progression.
It's very methodical in that sense. It's like, well, of course this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and it just follows exactly what you expect in that sense.
Yeah, there's a great moment. It's when so we find out who the girl is. You know, the doctor and the sheriff come and they check her, and it cuts to her mother, Laura Palmer's mother, and she's like in the kitchen and she's shouting up, you know, Laura, where are you? Time for school, blah blah blah, and she's not responding. And we've just heard that it's her. We know it's her. We as the audience know that she's the girl who's just been found. And she goes to check upstairs, like, because she's not responding. Goes upstairs to check, and the camera. This is just a bit of camera work that I love. The camera just stays in this one shot, very low angle, looking up at the stairs, and you can sort of see like Laura's bedroom door at the corner. There's another sort of door just off camera, sort of behind it at the top of the stairs. And we see all this plays out where she goes up and she checks the door and she's not there, and she's like, wait, why is she not here? She goes to check another door and she's looking for in the bathroom, so on. Camera stays down here the entire time. And what I love about it is, A, we don't have to see or not find her because we already know she's dead.
Yeah.
And B, it makes the house look scary. In a really subtle way. It's a very, like, the stairway looks imposing. Like, this is big, scary, and empty. Now,
it's interesting because it makes everything feel cramped while where we are feel big. Because we're seeing the one location, so obviously, like the staircase, it feels big because we're there.
And it snowballs to the
not
father.
Seeing anything else.
It snowballs to the father, and I'll talk more about that when we get spoilers. I don't want to spoil all the little techniques that he goes, but just simple things like that. It made every scene at the start of the episode feel important, and each step of finding out who was who, and it introduces everyone in connection to Laura. Every single person in the town is connected to her, which is why it's almost important that Cooper comes last, because he's not in the town. He's the FBI who comes on outside to investigate. Everyone else, we learn about them as their connection. It's either Laura's parents, Laura's friend, Laura's sort of help worker, sort of her psychiatrist, and so on and so forth.
I'm just wondering, the order they're introduced, it almost feels like the people who've known her longest through to the newest. Obviously, with the parents, obviously they're the longest and they're the first. And then, like you say, we have the FBI who only know about it because it's a case at the very end. And it feels like the order that it goes through could be that.
Yeah. And it goes through all that, and at the same time though, it establishes that it's not going to be a straight murder mystery that you might be used to seeing. I think when the sheriff gets the call about the body, you know, we have the guy who works at the sawmill, finds her, and makes the call, and it's Lucy, the receptionist at the sheriff's department, who picks up the phone. And she's like, oh, someone, you know, the guy's calling for you. I've put it through to the phone. And there's this, like, 30-second, almost comedy bit with her over-describing what phone she's talking about and describing the scene. And it's really funny, but it right away establishes there's going to be quirkiness to this. We're going to have characters who are a little bit off and do silly things.
There's a few bits in this that actually made me genuinely laugh.
Oh, yeah, there is. There's a few. I spoke about all the relationships. There was a point towards the end where they established yet a new relationship that I started laughing because it was getting so ridiculous how many of these characters. It was almost like inbreeding how many of these characters are all at it.
It was getting severe.
Yeah, but it's kind of the point. It's kind of over the top, and it's playing out in this this scenario. And then Cooper comes in, and he is so different to everyone else. And he's like astounded at the town. He's never been in this type part of the country before. He's talking about the trees, he's talking about the wildlife, the food here is great, everything. He's impressed with everything. And he mixes that in with talking about the case as if that's normal.
Yeah.
And everyone's sort of taken aback. So again, it sets up his character as the outsider, which in a way, even though he's not introduced until that so far into the episode, we kind of connect with him in the most in the weird way because he is the outsider like we are.
Yeah, and then it's also how we learn a lot of other people is they're explained to him because they're like, oh, this is who you need to know. This is this person. That's their role in the town. And obviously it makes sense for him to be told that because it's an investigation. But but then we're told through proxy. It's good.
Yeah, very very well established, very well set up. The mystery itself is very intriguing. You find out that even the characters who knew Laura didn't know as much as they thought they did about her, and that leads to a lot of great little build up. So. I would. It's definitely got a very unique tone.
Yeah,
it's very Lynch, but at the same time, it's a sort of different kind of Lynch because he has kind of adapted his own style for TV.
Yeah, I will say before we go any further, I'm interested to see the second episode because obviously this is much longer than a regular episode. It's a bit over twice the length, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
I can't work it out, but yeah, it's and it feels slow. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean everything is very deliberate, methodical. Like it takes its time. I'm wondering to see how that plays out on a shorter timescale per episode.
On that note, I actually really want to compliment it for that because we often talk about how pilots these days often don't get the double pilot treatment, and they always feel they could use it, especially on network TV. And the one example recently that did have a double pilot, which was Emerald City, instead of using the double pilot to actually, flesh out all of the actual setup, it just sped through 2 episodes worth of material, and it felt just as rushed as normal. It
basically just pretended it was 2 separate episodes, whereas this absolutely did not. If you wanted to, you could maybe split it when Cooper arrives.
Yeah, maybe, but it would be weird.
But it would be weird. Like you could maybe edit in a gap, but it's not. It's 1 episode. It is long. It is slow, but it takes its time to establish everything.
It's all on the first day as well because it ends with the end of the night of like it's find in the morning, early morning, and at the end of the episode, it's nighttime. It's that night.
Yeah,
all takes place in this first day of the case.
Yeah.
Which is it's actually kind of impressive how quickly Cooper gets there. I'm thinking about it.
Well, yeah, you think it was early morning when they find the body, right? 'Cause it's before school, and then you fly in. Depends whereabouts he's coming from, I suppose.
Well, I think he drove in because he talked about
he drives in as well, but I guess he could have just rented a car from an airport.
Depends how. I suppose it depends if there's an airport.
Yeah, depends how far away.
Yeah, that's true. But no, I think it's very well paced. I think it sets up the mystery very well. I think, despite the fact that there's so many characters, I feel like I came out of this, even if I can't remember all the names instantly, I remember what they function as in the plot.
Yeah, very well. That's something that you have to praise this long episode for. It makes sure you know who everyone is before it moves on to someone else. Yeah,
and the really, it's almost really impressive that despite the fact that there are so many relationships and so many affairs, I can probably, maybe I could use a chart, but I think I could tell you.
I feel like I can keep track of most of them. Yeah.
Yeah, despite the fact that there's so many characters and we're questioning motivations, like because obviously it's a murder mystery, so that anyone could be the killer potentially.
Yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and it's funny. There's a couple of characters that have not been introduced yet that I remember being weirder than the ones that have been introduced.
Right. Okay.
There's some minor characters in this that pop up again, like Log Lady. She's just kind of staple of the show.
That was one of the times where it gave me a good chuckle.
We call Log Lady.
Yeah, because he's asking, like, he's in a room going, "Oh, who's that?" And they're telling him, and he goes, "Oh, who's that with a log?" And he goes, "It's Log Lady." It was good.
Yeah, a lot of really good stuff. So I think there's not much more we can talk about without spoilers.
There's not. It's really hard, isn't it?
I will say, for the most part, the cast is really good. There's 1 or 2 that are maybe too over the top, but this is the weird thing about this show in Lynchy style. The over the top acting kind of fits in with it because it is kind of surreal.
It is, and it's like, is it over the top, or am I just not used to it yet?
The one who stuck out as being particularly worse than everyone else was the slightly abusive, demanding boyfriend of the waitress.
Yeah, that felt, rather than being over the top, it just felt a bit more cliche.
It felt cliche, but I think his acting was definitely...
Yeah, I think that's why it felt cliche, because everyone else is kind of... It is cliche things, but it's being pulled off in this weird manner, whereas his just felt, oh, this is just typical cliche stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be the one acting criticism. But everyone else is pretty good, and even if they are being kind of over the top and they're being very melodramatic, it's a very intentional melodramatic.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can't deny that there's a style and tone into all this. Like, there's no way you watch this and go, that was a normal TV episode. No way.
No.
So, yeah, we'll go into full spoilers now for episode 1 of Twin Peaks. It's the pilot. So, full spoilers from this point on. So, I want to talk more about the opening, like, half hour as it's revealing to everyone. Like, everyone's finding out that she's dead.
Yeah.
Which works really well, because Mother... I spoke about the camera down the bottom of the stairs. She's looking at the rooms. We don't know. Right? Then we're introduced to her father. We don't know she's her father at first. We just see sort of Ray Wise is playing him, Leland Palmer, and him and another business guy are making this pitch to these foreign. I think we're German. I want to say.
Maybe Swiss. Sounds about right.
So yeah, something like that.
That sort of area of Europe for
Yeah,
sure.
and they've got a translator, and he's translating, and they're selling them on the industry, but also the safety of the town is essentially what's happening. And he gets a phone call. He's like, "Oh, sorry, it's your wife." And okay, I'll take it. I'll leave the meeting. I'll go and talk to her. And it's it's his wife. It's Mrs. Palmer, and she's on the phone. And she's like, "Oh, Laura's not home. She's not here. No one knows she is." And he makes the natural assumption, "Oh, she's with her boyfriend Bobby." Like,
Which we'd already seen her do because she phoned
yeah.
around to see, oh, is she with him? Like, and the other mother was like, nope, he's gone out, and maybe they're together.
Yeah, I mean, she says, "Oh no, he's missing as well." I was like, "Well, that works out. They're probably together. That's not anything to worry about." But as soon as he says that, the sheriff walks in the door.
I think it's really clever because while this conversation is going on, you see the car pull up in the background through the window, and you know what's coming because obviously we know.
It's expertly directed in that sense, to see in the car and knowing that it's coming. But when he walks in, it's when he notices the sheriff. When he notices the sheriff,
he goes up to the desk and then asks.
Yeah, he goes up to the desk and he looks up and he sees him at the desk and he turns around and looks at him and they make eye contact. And because he's just like, his wife's worried that she's missing, and he's just realised the sheriff's here to look for him.
Yeah, and he goes straight to the worst because he knows.
And he knows, yeah. And it's not even it's not a leap. Like, you get it. Like, if your daughter's missing and then you find out the sheriff's looking for you at your place of work.
Yeah, it's that natural parental instinct to be worried for your children and assume the worst, which see all the time.
And it's great. And she's still on the phone and she's hearing bits of it over the phone while the sheriff's telling him.
That leads to one of my favorite moments in this whole section is this scene ends. It kind of cuts back to the phone just kind of dangling down on the chair, and you can just hear her like sobbing through it. And I thought it was just such a great touch that you kind of forget the phone was there for most of it, and then it's just a reminder that now she knows as well, like for sure.
Yeah, and then it's after here where we're introduced to the school characters. We're introduced to Donna, our friend Audrey, who's a bit of a rebel. We get more of her later, and James, who's her friend and seems to be friends with Laura as well. And Bobby comes into school and Bobby's taken away. We've already been introduced to Bobby, actually. That's a good point, mate.
Yeah, we had the scene like the diner.
The diner, and he's with his another girl who's not his girlfriend.
Yep.
And she also seems to... Well, I don't think she's in high school, though, because she seems to be in a married relationship, and she's working as well.
Yeah.
So he seems to be dating someone a little bit older, but they have a secret relationship, and I don't even think at this point we know he's supposed to be Laura's boyfriend. Maybe if we caught his name, we would have known.
I think you do. I think because is it Norma, the one behind the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, she calls him by his name.
Okay, that's true. But we see that he's worried about, as he puts it, her old man. Is he home? And they see his truck there, and he panics, and they back up so she can come in on her own. So we've been introduced to him, but he comes out of school, and they take him to talk to the sheriff, because obviously he's the first person they go to, especially when they find out, you were with her at some point, last night, and they're taking him off, and it's while he's off that we introduced to all the other characters in the school, and they go into class. And the teacher's calling it the register. And it's funny, because even though I've seen this before, I'd forgotten a lot of these scenes. And I was really expecting to get to Laura Palmer's name.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't be there.
That's what I was expecting as well. It's such the obvious thing to do.
But one of the deputies comes in and informs the teacher that the principal's going to make an announcement, blah, blah, blah. And Donna notices like the teacher and the deputy having the conversation. And she looks over to where Laura sits, and she's not there.
She makes the link as well.
And she makes the link. And again, it's a logical enough link. I mean, I wouldn't say she would necessarily be right, but I completely understand in her position being worried that is the most likely possibility.
Yeah.
Sure, it could be someone else, but the police are at the school, teacher looks notably upset. This is obviously
and they're in this class as well, not just the school. They've come to this teacher to tell them.
This class, and she's the only one in the room missing. There's enough there. Like, if there was like 3 kids missing, it was normal. There was 3 kids off that day. Sure.
And that's why I like that it goes through the register for quite a while before this, because it tells you, no, look, they're all here.
Yeah, you get that real sense, and everyone kind of gets it. And the principal makes an announcement and all that. But I love how it snowballs, and we learn who all these people are through their connection to Laura, and it makes sense as they're introduced one by one, and that's really cool. So I think that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Cooper comes to the town, And he's a character right away. He's constantly on his tape recorder talking to Diane, who will be... I wonder if we'll learn more about Diane later, because I remember this vividly, that he always talks on the tape recorder to Diane, whoever's going to be taking his notes or keeping his records. And I'm just wondering if we ever meet her or whatever in season 2 and get to see who Diane is. But
yeah, I like that he just kind of rambles to her as well.
oh yeah, because he starts talking about what he had for lunch. Oh, that was great pie.
Yeah, it's like, if you're ever up here, you got to go get it.
Yeah, go get that pie. Trees are great as well. Is it? Cooper, come on, stay on task here. The case is at hand.
I feel bad for Diane. She's just like, I want to just do my job, and I got to listen to all this rambling nonsense.
I bet he's only meant to take one tape, but he goes with like 10 because he rambles so much. He has to go through like 10 tapes. Yeah. But I like having the sheriff, their interactions. Like the sheriff's like happy for him to come in and take the case, and he's even like some small local law enforcement can sometimes, when FBI steps in, they don't like that they take charge, and the sheriff's like, no, whatever, I'll help you. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm building up to this hospital bit is because I want to talk about the psychiatrist that they run into.
Yes.
This kooky psychiatrist has got plugs in his ears, and he chases down the sheriff. The sheriff clearly doesn't want to talk to him, and he introduces himself to Cooper, and he's like, "Oh, Laura was seeing me, and her parents didn't know." The really small touch I want to bring up about this scene that I love, and I don't know if I noticed it in my first viewing, but I definitely noticed it in this one. He's got a tie, right? He's wearing a tie.
Sure.
And on the tie, there's a little hula girl. He's got a really sort of... It's almost a far too animated a tie for a doctor to be wearing. But he's wearing a tie with a hula girl on it. But the skirt on the hula girl is an actual... It's like little beads or whatever. It's little strands that are actually coming down. It's actually got like a sort of 3D skirt element. As he says Laura was seeing him, he's playing with it with his finger, and the finger's up the skirt. And I was like, oh, that's subtle. That's so good.
I didn't catch that, I'll be honest.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh man, how many people has Laura been sleeping with? Seriously.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we constantly learn throughout this episode is that not only did she have Bobby, not only was she secretly with James, there's then implications that there was maybe other people.
Yeah.
There's like constant threats of maybe she was sleeping with him, maybe she was sleeping with him.
See, this psychiatrist, it did cross my mind because of the way he said, "Oh, her parents didn't know about me, like that she was seeing me," and it's felt like that. But I didn't catch the bit with the tie.
Oh, it was really simple, but I was like, oh, that's really... I don't know if maybe I did notice it and I've just forgotten, but I just thought, oh, that's really good, Lynch.
Yeah, that's
clever.
things.
But no, I like that. So yeah, he uses his smarts and he finds this letter under her fingernail, and it's connected to a case that was in another part of the state. Was it a year ago or something?
I think it was earlier in the year, maybe.
Earlier in the year, yeah. So he knows it's not a first-time kill. Whoever this is his second victim. And we meet a girl who would have been the third, who escaped for whatever reason. She's delirious. She's been bound. We can see her hands have been tied, and she's in the hospital now. But she's not really speaking much yet.
Yeah, and we're told that she's been raped as well.
We're told that she's been raped, and it's not until they find the security, because they find a lot of stuff in Laura's like room or possession. They find a tape, they find a key to a security deposit box. It's when they find the box, there's a magazine, an erotic magazine, and I think it's the escort section. There's this third girl is circled, so she's an escort, and it's like, well, what was she into? And Cooper even thinks there's traces of cocaine in the bag, although they're not tested it yet. But he's convinced that the white powder is cocaine, and he's convinced that everyone doesn't know Laura as much as they thought. Even the sheriff's like, no, Laura wouldn't do that. You didn't know her. She's the prom queen. But actually, one of the best moments is after they all start crying in class, when they've all realised she's died, the camera goes out of the hallway, and there's this great, nice shot going down the hallway, and then it goes into the trophy case with all the trophies, and then there's a photo of her in her, I assume, prom queen headdress kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's also the shot that the credits played over as well, which is nice.
Oh, yeah, so it is.
But no, I really like that moment. So yeah, this idea that there's more to her than met the eye.
Yeah, that's what this whole episode is kind of about in a way. Obviously, it introduced everyone. It's like, okay, there's a murder and it's a mystery, but it's more specifically about who was she. Yeah, what was she wrapped up in? Who? Because we assume, okay, James is probably the guy who shot this video. You know, the tape they found in the camera that Bobby did not like seeing. You know, Bobby was very upset about this, and Bobby and his buddy who is dating Donna and is very abusive about that relationship. Yeah, they like clearly think it's him when they learn it's a letter J, because they read her diary and there's a letter J. So there's a lot of details that I'm kind of going back on because I'm like, oh yeah, I have to explain where they got that. Yeah, but
they want to beat him up, and all this is going down. It's such a thick case already with all these possibilities of who could it been, but even we find out at the end when James finally speaks to Donna about it, he's like, look, I was with her last night, she was acting weird, she wasn't in the Laura that I was used to, and after, I wasn't with her all night, she left. She said some weird things about me.
Backtracking about to happen here as well.
Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about what he said as well, yeah. About how something to do with Bobby killing someone is what she told him. And it's like, okay, so did he? If he killed someone, who did he kill? Is her dying a retaliation of someone else dying? How deep does this rabbit hole go?
Yeah, it is like almost anyone could have done it at this point.
Yeah, and also a security deposit box. There was like 10 grand just sitting in it. High school kid, 17 years old. Where's she getting 10 grand?
I mean, I'm inclined to think maybe she was an escort as well.
Sounds like a possibility.
I mean, that was my assumption, but I'm trying not to assume anything because I'm guessing that means I'm probably wrong.
I might remember that, and I don't know if I'm sure on it, so I'm not going to say it. I'll just.
Okay.
The one thing I do remember, this is another thing that's set up throughout the episode, is they get the crime scene where things seemingly went down.
Yes.
And they find a bit of paper saying "Fire Walk with Me." I have no idea what that means. I just know that it's the name of the movie that comes after the 2 seasons, so it's obviously important.
Yeah.
And they find a necklace which was Laura's, and it was one of those ones where it's a heart that's split in half, and then there's like a matching set.
Yeah, and you give it to the other person.
Yeah. And we find out that James had the half of this, but Donna knows that the police are looking for this necklace, so she makes him bury it just before they show up at the end, and that's fine. So he knows he has to wait to the police, and he's like, I don't have an alibi for last night, but at least for now he seems innocent.
Yeah, he's got as much going for him as anyone else.
Yeah, and the funny thing is Cooper is pretty sure that Bobby didn't do it. And I think he's also sure that he didn't do it either, because when they roll up in the police car and Donna's like, he didn't do anything, and he kind of like just quietly says, yeah, you're probably right. Like,
yeah.
He's got very good instincts, or at least he believes in his instincts.
Yeah.
Almost to a supernatural degree how good he is at figuring this stuff out.
Yeah, it was with Bobby. He kind of just says, no, wasn't him. He didn't do it. But he carries on his line of questioning anyway, just for show.
He just taps on this little 90s piece of technology that I have no idea what to call, because we don't have them anymore.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. That was like kind of like a pager with a screen.
I'm going to say Filofax, but I don't know if that's right.
Oh, that sounds about right.
I don't know. That may be one of the things that you have in the... That may just be more of a paper thing, though. I don't know if that's actually the...
We're too young for this, aren't we?
We are too... I was 1 when this started.
It was before me.
Yeah, you weren't even born yet.
Yeah. And, we're not completely ignorant of technology in that sense.
Oh, no, of course not. But this is a very specific type of technology that wasn't used that much.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about tapes earlier on, and we know people who wouldn't even know how to use a tape.
Oh, God. I've heard of teenagers not even knowing how to open a CD case. Let that sink in.
I don't know how to react to that.
These kids today, little menaces. I don't know, but yeah. So that's the thing. And at the end of the episode, the sort of ending cliffhanger moment is we see someone at night out with a torch, a flashlight, dig it up and take the necklace.
Yeah. All you see is a gloved hand.
Yeah. I will say this: I do remember who took it.
Okay.
This is the one big thing. I remember the reveal of who has that necklace.
Okay.
So I will not speculate on that subject, because I do remember that.
In that case, I shall not speculate in case your reaction gives anything away unintentionally.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I can't. Seriously.
I'm trying to let you speculate here.
I know, but it's really hard to do that.
Shall I turn round?
No. I don't know. The problem is there are so many people that it could have been still, because there's a gloved hand, maybe a bit of a flannel shirt that you see. I don't know. I'm feeling you want to assume someone in the lumber mill, but I have no idea. I'm kind of willing to just kind of go with it at this point.
I'm just smirking the whole time because it's just funny that I'm doing this.
Yeah, I get that.
Speaking of the lumber mill, let's talk about some of the town dynamics that we've not touched upon yet. So, Lumbermill is run by this Asian woman from Hong Kong,
Yes.
who was the new wife of the guy who owned the lumbermill, but he died 6 years ago and left her everything. And his sister, who also runs it with her, isn't happy about this. They have a bit of a rivalry. And in fact, the guy who finds the body is her husband.
Yes.
In the lumbermill as well. So that's that. And you've got the business guys who was working with Laura Palmer's father, wants this lumbermill and wants this land. So he's trying to get in that. We find out that the sheriff is having a relationship with this Asian woman. Fine. They don't appear to be cheating on anyone, so that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we're not entirely sure about the sheriff, at least. I mean, it doesn't seem like he is, but we don't know for sure.
Sure. Other characters were introduced to throughout this episode. Donna and James have a older guy friend. I don't know if it's meant to be his dad yet. I don't think it is. Maybe it is.
I didn't get that impression, but could be wrong.
But yeah, who I'm pretty sure the actor playing him is it's Big Ed. He owns a gas station or a garage. I'm pretty sure he's the actor who plays the villain in Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
I have not seen that, so I cannot corroborate that for you.
That shows the type of movies I was watching growing up as a kid that I recognise him from that. But
yeah, see the people I recognise for this are like Carl McLachlan, Ray Wise. You know, the people you're supposed to recognise now.
What about Lara Flynn Boyle? You don't recognise her?
Well, yeah, but I thought I'll pick a couple rather than go down the list.
So, yeah, he's a character. He's got a wife who's got an eye patch and is constantly nagging at. She's shouting across because he lives across the road from his work, and she's constantly shouting across the street to go and get drapes and put the drapes up because she needs drapes.
Yeah.
And okay, that's fine. But then we find out he's having a relationship, an affair with Norma, who works at the diner.
Yeah.
With the other waitress who has the sort of demanding husband.
Yeah. Oh, this is getting tangled already. We're one episode in.
It is. And to make matters worse, at the end of the episode, just after James tells Donna about all of the stuff that happened with Laura, they kiss. And for a split second, you're like, oh my god, they can't be a couple as well. This is weird. Is it some sort of three-way thing going on here? But then the reaction is, oh no, this is a first-time thing. They've not done this before.
This is spiraling out of their feelings of what's going on.
Yeah, so they've got a thing brewing now.
Yeah. Man, there's so much in this episode. And considering how slowly it moves, it's shocking just how much there is.
It's been very economical with how it gives you information. And it's doing it in a very smart way for the most part.
It is, and it's very rare. Unless it's something very important, it's rare that it tells you just one thing at a time.
Yeah.
And then, it's always just giving you multiple things.
Then on top of this, near the end of the episode as well, the sister who's running the lumber mill but is pissed at the Asian lady. Again, we'll have some of these names worked out as we go through a couple of the episodes. She is working in cahoots with Laura's father.
Yeah.
Because we see her talk on the phone, push it down, and it cuts to him with his hand on the phone, and he's... So, yeah, there's all these... See, it's very twisty, very tangly. There's a web of connections with all these characters.
And there is, and it's almost hard to... Like, when I'm saying it like this, it sounds hard to follow.
But it isn't when you're watching it.
I'm struggling more talking about it now than I was... When I was watching it, everything made complete sense. Like, I got every single relationship as I was watching them. Yeah,
it all worked when you're watching. The information is displayed in a very clean way. Is there anything about the case I've forgotten? Is there anything they found that I don't think there is, but...
No, we did the safety deposit box, money, diary, keys...
erotic magazine, which is a connection to the other victim, which...
Yeah, necklace we've done. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think that's everything. So... No, great pilot. I like it a lot.
Absolutely.
It sets up all these kooky things. There's a lot of great sort of almost absurd moments where the musical go kind of jazzy.
Yeah, it's very swing. It's because the two themes are so there's the main one which it kind of just comes in a lot. Yeah, the piano and the synth.
Yeah,
and then there's the kind of swing with the walking bass. Kind of use looks like a detective. It's the sort of thing you get in like a 70s or 80s detective show. But
the funny thing is, it tends not to be playing during the detective scenes.
It's not. It's usually during other things.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of music.
Because the first time it plays is either at the school at the diner, I can't remember which, but it's those type of scenes that's getting that music.
Yeah, and the last one I recall it with is, when they're all in the jail cells and they're doing that. It's with the three guys. It plays over that as well.
Yeah, because when they take James in, he goes to a cell, but they've already arrested Bobby and his friend because they were in a fight at the local bar, and like they're staring at him and they're like howling at him, saying they're going to kill him or whatever, and
Yeah.
James is just standing there staring like a psychopath kind of thing, kind of scared like, but it's very, very intense stare.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's playing over that, and it's very strange because, like I say, it's typically associated now with detective shows and that sort of investigation. And while the show kind of is that, it's not using it in any of those scenes.
It's very offbeat. It gives it like a sort of pulse, a sort of energy that is interesting. Yeah. It definitely gives it a different vibe.
Like I say, it is an offbeat thing, which is why it's worse, because it's kind of adding this kooky feeling that it's not quite right.
Yeah. Small scene as well after, because Donna sneaks out because they put in a curfew. Cooper says they should put in a curfew because there's a serial killer now and we have to keep everyone under 18 off the streets at night. And Donna sneaks out, and when her dad picks her up at the station after the police have got her when she was with James, they have this little scene like, obviously you realise how upset me and your mother must have been given what's just happened to one of your friends, like you disappearing. Yeah. But I also know you're smart enough that must have been important, whatever it was. And he ends up just kind of getting along with her and forgiving her.
Yeah, I really like the scene. He goes, right, you took your sister's bike, didn't you? And she where is it? It's back at the bar. Well, we better go get it then, hadn't we?
Yeah. And what I like about that is it sets her character up as being, at least from what we've been learning about Laura, the polar opposite.
Yeah.
It's setting her up as being a very responsible young woman, as opposed to Laura, who seems to have been into a lot of seedy shit.
Yeah, and it's even a small moment where she's borrowing a sister's bike, but she'll refill the air in the back tire. Like it's something that's she didn't have to do, but it's like, yeah, sure, we'll get that done. Yeah,
so it really sets that up, and also get like these two were like best friends, and they were this different.
Yeah.
Now, how much does she says she knows her better than she thought she did, but like how to what extent?
Exactly, that's where it makes you question. It's like, what sort of front was Laura putting on?
Yeah, so very, very interesting. But we're looking forward to unravel this. Like I say, the filmmaking is very good. It's not afraid to sit back and let something play out. Like the scene where Bobby comes back to school, and when he first enters, just before the teacher says, "Come on, you need to come and see the principal," and obviously the sheriff. The entire scene plays out from behind his friend in the corner, and it just stays there the entire time.
Yeah.
And then he kind of like sort of dances his way back to the door. Speaking of dancing, actually, when we first go to the school, there's a scene just after we've been introduced to Donna and Audrey. As the bell rings and all the kids like disperse into the classrooms, there's one random kid who shuts his locker and just dances sideways out of the scene.
I saw that.
It's just a subtle little David Lynch touch. There's like,
it's just something to give you a little chuckle.
Little weird thing. What else? Audrey. We need to talk about Audrey and what she does. So she's the daughter of the businessman who works with Laura's dad, and she hears that we can't tell all these foreign businessmen about the murder because we're trying to assure them this is a safe place to come and start their business or expand their business, whatever.
And
work
so
with us.
Of course she walks straight in.
She walks in and acts all upset and tells them what happened. Yeah. And we see them all leaving, and she looks evil and cackling and
it's really fun to watch.
It is really funny to watch her be a mischievous, because she's even before that scene when she finds all this out, she's sitting playing with a cup. She's got a pencil and she's kind of screwing into the cup, and I just thought she was fidgeting. But then when she actually gets through, the coffee spills out. Like, that was full.
Oh no, it's worse. She gets in, but she leaves it in, and then she goes, "What will happen if I pull it out?" And then she does, and then it all spills out.
Yeah. But it's like, because at first I assumed it was an empty cup. I thought she was just fiddling, and no. Yeah, a little troublemaker.
Yeah, she's very much the stereotypical. Like, it seems at least she's playing the stereotypical like 80s bitch.
Yeah, but I'm sure as well.
I'm sure there's more.
She seems to be friends with Donna. Donna sort of smells at her wackiness in the school.
Yeah.
And we get so it's like, how are these people all friends? How do they connect? Like, I'm sure we'll get a lot of that as we go on.
Yeah. Do you want to know what my biggest problem was?
Go on.
it made me want donuts.
Me too. That table of
Thank
donuts.
God.
Oh my God! Especially those ones that were completely covered in chocolate, like all the way around.
I know, and then we was like, let's get. I want a donut when I was in the car. Oh, God damn it!
You're like, oh,
It's the Supergirl effect, isn't it?
yeah. He was like, please don't have a scene later where they're eating donuts because I can't take it. And
I know.
then they walk into this heavenly layout of donuts.
I think I'm gonna have to buy donuts for the next time, just in case. I don't trust it anymore.
I will say this show, I don't like coffee, but I wish I did, just so I could quote this show on a regular basis.
Yeah, I get that.
Because I don't think he's actually said the phrase yet, but starting next episode, he does say that's a damn fine cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And he does say damn good food in this one, but not a damn fine cup of coffee.
It's funny because given that the show's 25 odd years old, and that's one of the few things I know about it.
There's a damn fine cup of coffee.
I don't know any other spoiler. I don't know the premise. I don't know any of the spoilers about anything, but I know that.
It's kind of a meme. You get the meme. When they announced this was coming back, there was tons of people posting photos of them smelling the coffee. Like that was
it was.
That was the thing. So yeah, it's back in May. We're going to catch up, and so far so good. Fantastic.
I have to say, I'm looking forward to it being back in May a lot more than I was 3 hours ago.
Yeah, because you're wondering what's this going to be like.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's the show going to be.
Yeah, we know it's Cooper coming back to Twin Peaks after all the time.
Yeah,
right? We know that much, but that's it. And I think they've even said they're not even going to do a proper trailer. You may get some sort of weird cryptic teasers, but no.
I'm okay with that. I don't think they don't need to at this point, do they? They're smart.
As far as I know, Lynch is writing and directing all of it.
It's a big ask.
It's 18 hours of like Twin Peaks, and it's all him.
Yeah. Damn.
And it's going to have it's not something that's going to continue. It's going to be a one-time event of these 18 episodes, and I'm just like, well, okay, give it to me, because he's got something cooking up.
Yeah, I mean, if he's come back and obviously because we know there was a lot of negotiating issues, and he clearly wanted to do this. It's not something they've come on. Can we do this?
Yeah,
he's got the idea.
They wanted to slash the budgets, and he stood his ground and threatened to leave, and there was a whole hubbub about it, and then they sorted it out. They made their decisions, whatever they did to win him over.
Yeah, we don't know what exactly it went down, but
yeah, but either way, we're getting it. It's been through some turmoil, and I'm looking forward to it. But no, pilot's great. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a little bit weird, of course. Very, very pulpy in a very intentional way.
Yeah.
But everything feels very deliberate. Every scene is given the time to breathe and made to feel important. The direction's very good.
Like I said, I'm a little bit concerned perhaps about the shorter episodes now. See how it manages that pacing on a shorter time scale, but I'm sure it'll be all right.
Well, we'll find out next week, because that's when we'll have episode 2. So thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the pilot of Twin Peaks. If you've seen it, if you're watching along with us, that'd be cool. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. And like I say, we'll be going weekly, probably for season 1, but then with season 2 we'll probably speed up a little bit, because we need to get to them a little bit quicker to make the May date. And yeah, and I'm sure there's at least half a dozen weird things we didn't talk about because there was so much. But
yeah, we went for a long time on this, and I still feel like we can't have covered everything.
No, there's so many little things in here, and we haven't even got to backwards speaking or other things.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. So thanks very much, guys. Keep watching TV, keep watching Twin Peaks, and we'll see you next time.